Salem High School is well past due to be renovated. The main building is 50 years old and has never seen a major renovation project. This is a building that sees over 10,000 visitors weekly and is undoubtedly the most used public building in Salem. There are countless structural, mechanical, and safety deficiencies throughout the building. Systems have long outlived their expected duty cycle, and improvements must be made. This video highlights a fraction of the issues and problems that exist throughout the facility. There will never be a better time to renovate. Water is seeping down the exterior wall of a tech ed classroom that is located below grade and beneath the upper gym. This creates an electrical hazard as well as structural corrosion and mold issues. A major deficiency throughout the building is a lack of electrical infrastructure. When the building was constructed back in the 1960s, demand for electrical outlets was limited. Today's technology-rich education requires more electrical outlets for students. Efforts have been made to adapt to this changing infrastructure by installing overhead outlets. You will typically see these in family and consumer science classes, and tech ed classrooms. This space is used for special education life skills. There is no natural lighting in the space below the upper gym. Frequently, classroom space below the gym is extremely loud and distracting due to the deflection and vibration of the floor. The sprinkler pipes bounce up and down as students run across the gym floor. This space has had a series of plumbing backups as a result of old and occluded sewer drains. It is not uncommon to have sewage backups in classrooms. This is the art room, which is actually 3 classrooms that are separated by rolling shelving units used as partitions. The space lacks natural lighting, which should be a requirement for an artistic environment. This room has seen electrical issues as well, due to the demands of operating kilns for pottery classes. This is a ceiling tile that has been fabricated to collect leaking water from the boys' locker room shower above. The water is collected in this makeshift plastic enclosure, which then drains down into the sink in the early education preschool classroom. The maintenance to repair the drain has been put off due to the extensive cost and extent of the repair. These are hot plates that are used in science labs for heating substances. They frequently cause circuit breakers to trip because of insufficient amperage. This leads to disruptions in lab activities, ultimately impacting students' education. You can see 3 different floor tiles in this classroom. Recently, there was an incident in this family and consumer science room where asbestos floor tiles began lifting. The teacher unknowingly removed a large amount of floor tiles, exposing the asbestos mastic beneath them. As a result, the classroom space had to be closed off for several weeks while asbestos mitigation could take place. This space was originally a conference room and is now used for the TV production editing room. The square footage is inadequate for a class of 20 students and is very crowded. This space lacks the proper electrical infrastructure to support a computer-rich environment. The program lacks adequate storage, a recurring issue throughout the building. The main entrance is lacking in adequate security and is not visible from the main office. Ideally, there should be a second entrance to screen visitors before entering the main building. The proposed renovation will provide security breaks, which isolate visitors from students. The upper gym facility has structural deficiencies throughout. Steel supports that were installed to brace walls and stop the building from settling are pulling away from the walls. There is an apparent separation between the floor and the exterior wall. Stress cracks in the masonry structure are found throughout, and the roof is riddled with leaks. The band room was constructed with a tiered concrete floor, which was suitable when built in 1966, but is inadequate for the size and structure of today's band. The construction of the classroom does not allow for any modularity. It's a very cramped room and lacks adequate storage for uniforms and instruments. The nurse's office does not have a handicap-accessible bathroom. It's a very small space, lacking in storage as well as a soundproof area for conducting confidential conversations with students and parents. These are just a few examples that illustrate the need for major renovations of Salem High School. Improvements to the building will impact the safety, security, health, and education of Salem students.